Good morning.
In my sound,
And I'll say good morning from David because we're having a bit of problem with his
Hello.
sound at the moment. But he's going to
Hello.
wave and nod.
Any better, Chris?
Good morning.
Any better? That's all we've had all for the last 10 minutes. Any better? So I know, dear viewers, some of you might say.
Yeah, the way and leave you.
So we did vote because we're a bit short of time today because we've got busy days. We did vote that it's probably best if David didn't do our Bible reading.
Yes.
And crack on, Callie.
We could say whatever we like with David in the background, Mum, miming.
Yeah, but he might make a note and report us.
That's true. Well, we'll crack on anyway. So we're looking forward to Advent Sunday already. That's exciting. So our reading is Matthew 24, verses 36 to 44. But about that day and hour, no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. For as the days of Noah were, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing until the flood came and swept them all away. So too will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then two will be in the field. One will be taken and one will be left. Two women will be grinding meal together. One will be taken and one will be left. Keep awake, therefore, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour.
No, glass half full or glass half empty? Are you one that's taken into paradise or are you one that's left behind? Or is being left behind better? It's almost a question. It can be. You could either read this in quite a depressing way, I think, or quite an optimistic way. I
find it strange, the comparison of the Lord coming, with a thief coming and breaking in and stealing. I find that a very challenging comparison.
Yeah, I suppose I suppose the thieves were, like you say, appearing in the middle of the night quietly, and until it was too late, you didn't know they were there. And I suppose, and actually, Jesus pretty much did the same, didn't he? He was born of Mary as a normal little baby, and then all of a sudden, here's God on earth.
It's the thief bit I can't quite get past.
Is that because it's an interesting thought, isn't it? I just want, because I don't see it as a problem, because I just see it as a stealth thing. Is that because we don't have to worry so much about thieves today as maybe they did back then? I mean, we lock our doors at night, but we don't put up big barriers.
The stealth thing, I mean, the positive side of the stealth thing is actually just be prepared all the time. Just don't, you don't have to be prepared in an anxious way, as in, well, terribly worried about a thief breaking in, but just know that at any given time, the Lord may come. And actually, it's funny how certain sects and certain people get really carried away with sort of trying to predict exactly when the Lord is coming or trying to work it out, and play with numbers and dates and all the rest of it. And I don't think we're called to do that. We're just called to be ready.
And does that leave us like in a stealth mode where we actually don't realise that the evil's appeared in us whilst we're so busy looking all of a sudden we've forgotten our focus on the love of God and the grace of God and providing that to those around us. Shall we see if David's got any voice? You there, David?
Can you hear me?
The answer is no, David doesn't have a voice.
Come in, though, do you me?
We suddenly had a voice.
I think it's on delay again, Chris, for some unknown reason. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard that sentence.
Good. I think what we're forgetting, or what the conversation so far has been forgetting, is where in the church's year this particular reading has been set, i.e. the first Sunday in Advent. And what is Advent all about? It's about preparing, as you say, and getting ready, making sure everything's in place for the coming of Christ. Or am I mistaken?
No, you're not.
Thank you for bringing us right back to the season. I've got my new diary out.
And have you noticed I haven't got the... Yeah, I've got my diary, but have you noticed I haven't got the Advent candle this year? I did a risk assessment on the tinsel and decided it was too dangerous.
Well done.
Can you not give us your Advent candle without the flame?
I will do that for you next week, Chris. Yes, it's down here still in the bowl, looking rather dusty because I still haven't dusted it from the end of Advent last year.
What I can do is I can wave that in front of you. Is that good enough for an Advent wreath?
That works well.
I think you've done a stunningly well. Could you make sure next week it only has one candle lit, though?
Yeah, I draw a line on it and we uncover them as the 4 weeks go, because that's my service sheet for Advent.
Where's your Jesus candle? Where's your big white candle?
Oh, that wasn't on the picture on the internet that I downloaded it from.
Oh, well, you celebrate
and it's Advent, not Christmas.
Christmas.
That one doesn't appear until Christmas. But
Fair enough.
Spotted, Callie, well spotted.
No, it's fine.
But, I mean, Advent, and I've got this quiet day that I'm leading on Saturday down in Netherbury for anyone who wants to come, really. I guess it's only for a couple of hours, quiet morning. You know, what is preparation all about? You know, because the problem is with Advent, we read these readings week on week, and we're so busy racing around being stupid with carol services and school services and present shopping and wrapping and making sure the Christmas cake has been fed or whatever the case may be, that we actually miss the whole purpose of Advent.
Yeah.
You know,
sorry.
And I've already heard on radio, I mean, on Tuesday morning, Classic FM apparently launched the Christmas is Now Here, and they've been playing carols ever since. And of course, we haven't even got to Advent Sunday. And apparently, according, I think it was John Lewis in one of their adverts, or one of the companies. I don't want to be swearing to John Lewis because it may not be them, but apparently it's not Christmas anymore; it's the hosting season.
So, and I think the clue, the waiting, your point about the waiting and getting carried away with stuff and not focusing on what we're supposed to be focusing on, that's reflected directly in this reading. So it says, for as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage. They were carrying on, doing their stuff. Eat, drink and be merry, all of that. And of course, as we know from the story, they went astray, didn't they? Massively. That's why the flood came, because they'd gone so badly astray. Absolutely, Advent is about refocusing, and that Advent shares that with Lent, doesn't it? That sense of actually prayer and actually to some extent penitence. I know
that's the New Testament reading, isn't it, for Sunday? Romans 13. Now is the time to wake out of sleep. Now is the time to get ready. Now is the time to to do all these things and to put aside the works of darkness. It's not about waiting till Christmas to do it. It's about now doing it in preparation. And I remember many, many years ago now, must be nearly 30, I guess, I was at the school assembly, one of my first ever Advents at a primary school, and I asked some of the children if they knew what Advent meant. And one little boy put his hand up, and I asked him. He said, "It's about adventure, Reverend David." And I actually thought, and I've held that all these years, because Advent is an adventure in so many ways, as we work towards, the end of darkness and the coming of light, in that, wonderful Christmas event.
And I think the other
And,
thing is
and
we
so-
look at it from the other end of the telescope a bit. We look at Christmas. We know what happens. We know the nativity story. We know it well. Of course we do. But actually, they didn't really know what they were waiting for. And how many people recognized Jesus as Jesus? That there were plenty of people who did, but there were plenty of people who presumably didn't. It's a surprising, miraculous, amazing thing that God did with that little baby child being born. And how ready are we for whatever surprise God has in the second coming?
Exactly. And
Will
Chris,
we
what do you?
recognize the Messiah when he comes?
And Chris, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Chris, to live honourably and not revelling in drunkenness, debauchery, and licentiousness? That's what I need to know.
I'll stay in bed.
That doesn't get you past it.
Thank you, Callie. I'm pleased that you were the one that said that, because all that will lead within his household is to quarrelling and jealousy, instead of putting on the Lord Jesus Christ. You've got to put on the Lord Jesus Christ, Chris. That's the answer.
I wish your sound had stayed disappeared.
Don't you worry. I was listening to you two on and on. Very, very interesting theological discussion.
My brain is still trying to think of the URE, how the URE comes in at Christmas. As at the end of Advent.
Yeah.
Add the URE in it, and we've got our adventure. I'll have to think of some acronym or something like that for Sunday.
That's such a privilege, though, to hear that and hold on to that, David. It's amazing how profound those comments can be.
All of these years, I think we go and we are privileged, aren't we, in many ways, in the job that we do for so many things. We're invited into people's lives at the most sad time. We're invited to them at the most exciting time. We're invited to all kinds of things in between. And even school assemblies. And I've always joked about, schools and children or whatever. But I love going into schools to do an assembly. And you never know what you're going to get, do you?
The children are absolutely brilliant.
They are. And their insight into so much, particularly as they go up the ranks of school. And, I've now seen 4 sets of children do the whole of their school life in Beaminster.
Yeah.
And come out the other end as honourable people and good people generally. And but as you start off with the young ones, and I had a few weeks ago, I had the new intake at Mapperton came to assembly for the very first time, I may have said. And we were talking, we've been teaching them, Joe and I have been teaching all of our primary school children, as we do every year, the Lord's Prayer for the first part of the year. And we were on the bit about heaven. And I said, does anybody know where heaven is? And a little girl in this nursery class, and I put her hand up, and I kind of nervously looked at the head teacher to think, is this a wise thing to ask her the answer? And the head teacher nodded at me sagely. So I said, yes, what do you think? She said, it's up there. No, she's only 5, if that. And I said, well, how do you know it's up there? She said, because my granddad has just gone.
Oh, bless.
And you think, how profound is that? And do we get this profound teaching, which you were talking about in the early parts from that Matthew Gospel? Do we get that profound understanding from adults at the same time? And I sometimes wonder. Children are, as you say, an absolute joy to work with, because their understanding, naive as it may be, is straight to the point.
And also, they don't, things that the flood. I think as adults, we we want to have control over our lives, don't we? And we do have a lot of control over our lives, really, surprising amount. And so we can carry on thinking, we can organise life and get it sussed, and our life is all about, when we pick up the turkey and everything else. But actually, it's that flood can come any time, and that living in the moment that we need to do. Children are very good at living in the moment, and living each moment as though it's its own unique time that we should be enjoying here and now and giving attention to here and now. Whereas I think we lose that as adults.
Yeah, we do.
We complicate things, don't we? We like to complicate things. As in, where's heaven? Oh, it's up there. Oh no, well, there's space up there. If there's, and I've got one of my friends who said, well, heaven doesn't exist because our astronomers would have found it by now if it was up there. And we'd love to think all these complicated reasons of what heaven's like, where's it like, what sort of person are we going to be there? And then we talk our ways to the fact it doesn't exist. And I think that brings us back to the gospel of actually we complicate things. We miss the good that's coming. We miss the good of Jesus being born. We miss the good of the love of God coming to help us live our lives.
But to do that, Chris, you've got to be ready and prepared, haven't you? Wake up. Now is the time. And now is the moment.
We need the adventure without the URE.
And exactly. Without Midure attached to it. And I think the other thing is, as you go back as the viewers, we are rushing around because we all do it. We'll do it the same. We'll be busy doing all kind of things. Just one moment of caution. When we were in Shropshire, Jane and I, and we had our house in the wonderful village of Llanrydri down in the valleys of the Tanant Valley in Wales, only about 30 minutes away from where we lived. We decided if 1 year we would order the turkey for us from the butcher in the village in Wales, because he had beautiful meat and we always enjoyed it. So we ordered it, and I said to him, I'll have to drive over from where I am at Shropshire. I'll be here early in the morning. I've got to dash back. It's Christmas Eve. Well, I got to the village, parked, and there was a queue. Now, if you know anything about Welsh villages, they mostly accept English people without too much worry, so long as you don't upset them. Well, I arrived and joined the queue. The butcher came out and said, "Oh, let the vicar through. He's got to get back to his." And he gave me this turkey. I shoved it in the boot, drove off as people looked at me. I got all the way home 30 minutes later, took the turkey out, and it had come from the farm at the end of our road where we lived.
Yeah.
That's only a viewer. Don't get carried away with too much preparation. Just enjoy Advent. Prepare. Get ready. Now is the time to start to get ready for that wonderful event, which we'll all celebrate and have great joy with in only a few weeks' time.
Yeah, and I always quite like, we did it for the first time last year. I had a service and we just called it the after feast for the Sunday after Christmas.
Excellent.
Lovely.
I might pinch that, Chris.
You can.
I might pinch that.
And it was a case of, right, we've had our feast. What did it mean? How are we feeling? We might have had our excess of turkey and whatever else, but Jesus has been born. We've had the lead up and the excitement. What's the after feast? What's it mean?
I really like that, because that's sort of taking the temperature. How are we all feeling? Because Christmas is such an emotional time somehow. There's so much expectation around it, and it can be such an anticlimax after Christmas Day. Whereas, of course, we're celebrating the whole feast of Christmas, Epiphany as part of it. And also it's the beginning of our Lord and Saviour's time on this earth. You know what I mean? It's the beginning of something. It's not kind of the climax and the end.
And that goes back to my statement a few minutes ago about Classic FM announcing that Christmas has started last Tuesday. Because I know what happened, having listened to Classic FM for years over the year, that come Boxing Day, all the Christmas music suddenly ends.
Yeah, that's so sad.
And James often said to me, we as Christians are counterculture, aren't we? Everyone else has celebrated Christmas, had enough of it by Boxing Day or a couple of days later, and we're just entering into it as right through to Candlemas.
Yeah, actually, absolutely.
All the way through, which is why I've always insisted, much to the chagrin of some of our churches, that their cribs must remain up after the first week after Christmas.
Our churches are adamant about that, actually.
Yeah,
Really
quite right
enjoy
too.
that.
Yeah, quite
Which is
right
good.
too.
And Candlemas
So
is lovely. Love that festival.
my favourite. Watch out for it next year. Who knows what could happen? Right.
Wonderful.
Dear viewer, thank you very much. And the sound came back just in time for me to correct these two renegade theologians who were straining away without my superb input. I hope you noticed Bishop Karen, or she tuned out already.
Oh, she would have tuned out 20 minutes ago.
You brought us round to Advent. You came round to Advent.
She would have tuned out, Chris, when she realised my microphone wasn't working.
Oh dear, I've just muted her, David.
Oh, wonderful.
You have to unmute yourself, David, because I can mute you but not unmute you.
That's better.
Well, lovely to catch up with you all.
Yeah, lovely to see you. Thanks very much. And
thank you, everybody.
Next week, what's happening next week, Chris? Do we know? Because are you going to the Bishop's Quiet Day at Sherborne?
Yes. Shall I hit record, stop, and then we'll talk about it?
No, only so we can tell the dear viewer why we may not be here.
Yes, we've got a problem next Thursday morning, haven't we, with our recording? Because I'm up in Sherborne for the day.
So am I.
And so's Callie, and so's David.
I'm not, no, because I've got the senior school's carol service all day on Thursday next week, believe it or not. Stupid school.
You can have a David monologue.
We could. I could do a monologue, on the second Sunday of Advent. However,
I'm going to struggle early in the morning on Wednesday.
Yeah, and me, because I'm taking communion. It's my turn. I haven't done it for weeks. So, dear viewer, thanks very much for this week. We'll come back into Advent with candles almost all lit, probably in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
Brilliant.
All right.
See you all.
Bye.